Welcome back here with us on Overdrive. Now, Ferrari launched the brand's very first hybrid sports car in India in August 2022. Now, the 296 GTB is tech-heavy. It's also got a V6 twin-turbocharged engine. But what we're here to find out is, could this be your daily driver? It's time to find out.
Now, the 296 GTB takes the rulebook that's set for what a mid-engine Ferrari supercar should look like and pretty much tears it up. To start with, it's not a V8 anymore. It's the first ever Ferrari badged V6, and to rile you up even more, it's now a plug-in hybrid. But I'm not complaining. This is the first time that I get to drive a Ferrari, and the fact that I'm doing it in typical Mumbai traffic should make the experience quite interesting. Make a list of the best looking cars around right now, and it'll be difficult to leave the 296 GTB out of this. Even in this offbeat deep blue shade, the aura on this compact supercar is striking. The smooth, soft bodywork hides a fully functional aerodynamic package which seems to be heavily F1 inspired. There's air channels to reduce drag and aid downforce, but a big departure from Ferrari mid-engine norm is the freestanding roof design that now acts as an aero element in itself. Similarly, the spoiler too is now meant to increase downforce at low speeds and reduce drag as you go faster. And then it's a plug-in hybrid, so coming to what is really the star of the show, the way this engine is, it's parked in pretty deep into the frame of the car, so to speak. It's quite a flat 120-degree V6, so been able to package it really nicely. So with all the battery stuff, all the electric motors deep inside, it's still really deep into the chassis of the car and very low. So weight distribution, handling, all of that has been given a lot of focus when even the engine has been packed into this car. Once you're inside, there's this cockpit, very similar to what you see on the SF90. Quite a departure from the norm. There's no central screen, which means it's good news for the driver. So you control everything through here, through this big whole screen here. Of course, it has everything that you would need in a modern car, all your navigation and all your gauges and dials. And that typical yellow backlit Ferrari gauge cluster that's still been recreated quite realistically in even this full digital layout. And then, of course, you've heard this many times in pretty much every Ferrari that's been reviewed, are these quite controversial controls for the steering wheel. Also, these panels, the way they come up in front of you for the lighting, the mirrors on this side and the climate control here, it's really quite easy. And yeah, again, for the passenger, they have a whole separate screen for them, a seat heating function. They can see all the performance stats right from this screen here, which is a really neat touch. So even the passenger sort of is in on the mood, so to speak. The cohesive look of the Ferrari 296 GTB hides an especially complex powertrain. You have a 3-litre twin-turbo V6 that makes 666 PS, making it the most power-dense production car engine on sale now. A single electric motor is nestled between the engine and a new 8-speed DCT that makes 167 PS and also acts as a starter motor, fed by a 7.45 kWh battery pack that runs just behind the seats, making a combined 830 PS and 740 Nm. The Ferrari will go from 0 to 100 kmph in 2.9 seconds and reach a 330 kmph top speed in the top qualifying mode. A better sense of this thing's relentless performance comes from the 0 to 200 kmph time of 7.3 seconds. Now it's going to be a slightly different experience driving this when you realize that you can set off an entirely electric power alone, of course, if you have the battery charged. So just pull the pedal and it's pretty much like an EV, completely calm and serene. And you can, if you are pretty gingerly with the throttle, you can drive it in electric power for about 25 kilometers. So a short commute, if it's in, say, traffic or within the city, like how we are right now, it's very easy to do, say, short commutes without even bothering the petrol engine. But we aren't going to miss up on this opportunity, so what you can easily do is just move to the performance mode. The engine revs up and it's every bit of that really sharp edge, really raw, that Ferrari sort of anger that you experience just even looking at these cars. You have that in these also, and here invariably will come up to a speed hump where surprisingly the 296 GTB has a good amount of ground clearance. Even at these low speeds, there's a sharp wail filling the cabin as you work through the power band. Quite unlike the turbo engines, there's little in the way of hesitation with this motor. There's a nearly uninterrupted supply of power, which seems to keep rising in volume as you get nearer to the red line. The responses are especially sharp, helped by the quick-witted DCT gearbox that seems to fade away in the background in the best possible way. The 296 GTB will make you notice most of the patched road surfaces and cat's eyes you go over, but there's a pliant edge to this that makes it endurable for everyday use. The 296 GTB is stunning to look at, feels like an event to be inside despite some oddities, and is brimming with the kind of exciting, connective driving experience that we all seem to think will soon be lost.
With that, it's a wrap on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms, and you can write to us on our YouTube channel as well. We'll see you next week. Until then, drive and ride safe.